Yeah, you know the war effort's going well when the American government does a technique that we haven't really done since like the Ottoman Empire, like where countries don't normally do this at all. But you know the war effort's going well when the American government kidnaps the relatives of an individual that we have already assassinated. That's like a very important person in the Iranian military. Qassem Soleimani's relatives have been apprehended and kidnapped, like we're being controlled by Ottoman viziers or some shit. You know what I mean? We just took the family members unrelated to this individual who we had already killed. Right? We took their family members hostage. Very, very interesting medieval technique. Obviously, we're already doing siege warfare as well. Very cool. Very cool that that's the kind of shit that's flying around. Iran says they're not related. I mean, the point is, America thinks they are, and they've decided to fucking arrest relatives of who they perceive is a deceased Iranian general, Qassem Soleimani. America first assassinated the guy, and now they're like, "Oh, are you related to this person? We're gonna kidnap you, and we're going to take you hostage." It's not a hostage if a pilot is, I don't know, on its way to like bomb a light bulb factory in Iran and has their plane intercepted with rocket fires, and the plane falls on Iranian soil, and then they're taken prisoner of war. They're not a hostage. This is a hostage. Okay, you don't get to kidnap someone from an F-15, but you do kidnap like normal civilians that are living on U.S. soil. It's actually kind of a major disruption of the social contract. I know that a lot of people will look at this and go, "Who gives a shit?" Right? But this is totally against all of our rules. The previous norms, previous rules. There's good reason for why these rules exist. This is, once again, another indication that things are not going well at all. But Narges Soleimani, daughter of the late Iranian general Qassem Soleimani, has denied that the two individuals arrested in the U.S. are related to the family in a letter published by the pro-reform Jamaran. She said none of the Soleimani members' family or relatives have ever lived in the United States. It's so ridiculous. The niece and grandniece of the deceased commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, General Qassem Soleimani, have been arrested, the U.S. Department has said. Yeah, this is, I mean, I don't know what to say about this. It's obviously a bridge too far. It's obviously totally ridiculous. The way that the New York Times is covering this is also totally ridiculous. Like, I just want you to understand, like we are actually engaging in kidnapping, right? Like, this is a kidnapping. You cannot hold a random relative accountable for what you perceive are the crimes of their immediate relatives. That's not how this works, right? Like, Osama bin Laden has immediate family ties. Many of them get to travel freely in and out of the United States of America, and people don't actually question this dynamic because they're just a random fucking civilian. Like, that's insane, right? That's crazy. Like, that is not how this works at all, right? So I don't know how to explain how ridiculous this is for people who just don't understand it, especially because we're getting like dumber and dumber as a society. And the dumber we get, the more hateful we get. And the more hateful we get, the more we think these kinds of like heinous actions are actually totally appropriate and good and defensible. It'd be like kidnapping Liz Cheney. No, because Liz Cheney could be arrested on like separate charges of being like a Republican senator, right? Like, this is a totally random person. Like, this is not, they're not arresting these people for their connections to the Quds Force or anything. They're arresting these people because they are suspected of being related to a guy we assassinated. It would be like kidnapping Barron Trump. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane. That's not a thing that any country would do. As a matter of fact, this is something we suspect our enemies would do, right? Because they're barbaric. They're barbarians, right? Like it's not in any way, shape, or form normal at all to do this. Here's Aaron Reichlin Melnick, immigration attorney, senior fellow at IMM Counsel. He says, 2 notes. This is the legal authority Rubio invoked for Mahmoud Khalil and Rumeysa Öztürk, a law which may be unconstitutional. Rubio has not yet revoked her green card. He has initiated the process for doing so, somewhat of a foregone conclusion under case law. This is what's going on. U.S. federal agents have arrested the niece and grandniece of late Iranian military commander Qassem Soleimani after Secretary of State Marco Rubio revoked their lawful permanent resident status, the State Department said on Saturday. Hamideh Soleimani Afshar and her daughter are now in the custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the State Department said in a statement. 2 things, okay? Once again, this is desperation. This spells desperation. When what you're doing, when you start destroying previous norms and like decide to take hostage someone that you suspect is like related to a person that we had assassinated prior, a totally random, uninvolved civilian, that has a fucking green card on U.S. soil, like as in we've already gone through the process and given these people like the proper clearance, done the proper investigative work beforehand. Like this is unconstitutional for a million different reasons, right? This means, and it's not any different than like the way that the American government moved to apprehend and try to unjustifiably prosecute Mahmoud Khalil. This is a great fissure, a great violation of the social contract, an idea that like your citizenship is at the mercy of this administration. This administration can like revoke you of your legal permanent status without the previous rules that were designed around this, as in this can happen to anyone, right? If this can happen to Mahmoud Khalil, it absolutely can happen to your relatives. It can happen to any person that the administration chooses to do this to. And it's also done without due process. Luckily, there's still some semblance of a court structure in the United States of America. It's hanging on by basically a thread at this point. But this is why I stress the importance of like continuing along with these legal battles, because once that goes away, it's over. Like we are in a full tilt fascist dictatorship with no way out of it other than at that point it's going to be bedlam and probably people are going to have to defend themselves, right? Like I want to avoid that reality. And this administration is like actively moving in that direction. It's terrifying. On the second point, the United States cannot terminate permanent legal status, a green card, without going through a legal process first. And while the results of the initial stages of that process may be foregone conclusion under case law, that makes Rubio's claim false. This was Marco Rubio's claim. He said, until recently, Hamideh Soleimani Afshar and her daughter were green card holders living lavishly in the United States. Afshar is the niece of deceased Iranian Major General Qassem Soleimani. She is also an outspoken supporter of the Iranian regime who celebrated attacks on Americans and referred to our country as the Great Satan. This week, I terminated both Afshar and her daughter's legal status, and they are in ICE custody, pending removal from the United States. The Trump administration will not allow our country to become a home for foreign nationals who support anti-American terrorist regimes. Now, this came this morning, a couple hours ago, and it already has 154,000 likes on the Nazi platform. Some of that is obviously base boosted, but having said that, this is exactly the kind of like heinous violation of previous norms and like humanitarian rights and all of the international rules that we've basically designed that will be celebrated and cherished by some of the dumbest, bloodthirsty reactionaries that don't understand what this spells for the future of America, right? I mean, this is, it doesn't matter. You can't do this to anyone, right? Like you cannot do this to like a random innocent civilian that is totally unrelated, right? So it's yet another fissure. It's yet another instance of like destroying the liberal international rule-based order. And we're doing this somewhat at the behest of Israel, as Israel's also doing this, right? Like it's a very scary situation to be in. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it at all. I don't know how else to put it. And now a twist. Now the question like this are going to be note that questions like this are one of the reasons that a green card holder facing removal gets a hearing first before their status can be terminated, right? Narges Soleimani, daughter of the late Iranian General Qassem Soleimani, has denied that the two individuals arrested in the U.S. are even related to the family. So we don't even know if they're actually related to Qassem Soleimani. Even if they are, though, even if they are, it's still ridiculous, right? Even if they are, this is still unacceptable, right? But the fact that they might not be related to Qassem Soleimani makes this even crazier. Now you're just deciding, oh, well, you have the same name. You're going to fucking jail. We're going to hold you hostage. I mean, this is precisely what America claims Iran would do to our dual citizens living in Iran. There's plenty of Iranian Americans. Some of them are in Iran right now, right? Like, yeah, Putin's daughter lives in Paris, right? Vladimir Putin's daughter, unrelated to Vladimir Putin, lives in Paris. She gets harassed quite a bit, as a matter of fact, right? She tries to live a private life as a private individual, but like, she's not being held fucking hostage, right? And she shouldn't. Like, it's crazy. Unrelated to Vladimir Putin's actions is what I mean. Ironically enough, this is precisely, I mean, this is even worse, to be fair. This is even worse than like finding a bullshit reason to like kidnap Brittany Griner. Okay. Remember when Russia did this? An American national who was playing basketball on Russian soil was apprehended and arrested on bullshit charges. At least the Russian government still used bullshit charges. This is somehow even worse than that. I need you to understand, because like, we're not even implementing any bullshit charges. We're just saying like you're related, right? Like the principle behind why Russia obviously kidnapped and apprehended Brittany Griner was because they wanted to have leverage and they wanted to use a high-profile American citizen and American national as a bargaining chip, right? It's hostage taking. It's totally ridiculous. It's totally fucked up. But even then, they at least had like a existing legal structure that they could use and abuse to make a legal argument. America has not done that, right? Like, they didn't even get them on, I don't know, jaywalking, right? They didn't even get these people on jaywalking. They openly are saying, we are apprehending these people. They have not committed any crimes whatsoever. We don't even know if these people are actually related to the person. And there is no law or rule in the rule books that says we can kidnap people if they're actually related to individuals that we've assassinated or consider terrorists. And yet they're doing this. They're doing this openly. It's so scary what the future holds if we just continue doing shit like this. During the period in which a person is still in asylee status, travel back to the home country can be grounds for revocation. After getting a green card, there's no explicit prohibition against it. The admin appears to be saying it's proof of fraud. They may have to prove it. It's the trade with the pilot. No, I mean, I think it's still ridiculous, right? You can't do that. You can't just like grab random fucking Iranians, man, that you've given green cards to. Once an Iranian gets a green card, they're in the process of becoming an American citizen. Like, this is fundamentally un-American. Everything about the United States of America is being undermined by this administration. Every single initiative that we have launched that is anti-immigrant, that is against people that are coming in here, people that want to become citizens, people that are working tirelessly towards that goal, like, that's what America is about. That's one of the most redeemable qualities of the American project. It's one of the reasons why America has been such a prosperous country overall. It's like, this is a nation of immigrants. I don't just say that as a talking point. It's just the reality, right? So the fact that we are now choosing to go back and destroy one of the most consequential differences in the way that we govern, that has been a tremendous benefit for American prosperity, is truly terrifying. It's actually really, really scary shit. It is un-American. It is total bullshit. It's anti-democracy. It's anti-human rights. This is something that we used to take pride in, like whether we didn't do shit like this. You know, we would say our enemies are doing stuff like this. We would never. And now you got a situation where it is happening in the United States of America. Very strange. I mean, she brought weed into a country. It wasn't out of nowhere, bud. Okay, I don't know why people defend this. It was obviously bullshit, trumped up charges to literally engage in hostage taking. I was very clear on it at the time. There's no reason that you need to like defend Russia on this complete nonsense, right? They kidnapped Brittany Griner specifically to have a hostage that was a high-profile American national so they could bargain against some of the other Russians that were held hostage by the American government. It's so totally ridiculous to try to act like that's not the case. Having said that, okay, yeah, she had weed. She had a weed pen. It's not even like it's a slap on the wrist if you're a Russian national. Okay, we are not going to discuss the details of this. Okay, we're not going to discuss the details of this. It's totally stupid. What she did is a federal crime in the U.S. also with 5 years prison. It doesn't even matter if it's a fucking federal crime in the United States of America. It's not. You're wrong. And last but not least, it's not a serious crime in Russia, as I clearly spelled out at the time. She actually was hit with far harsher sentencing for something that normally normally receives like very lenient sentencing, if any sentencing at all. Okay. Anyway, you guys are being ridiculous. But the point I'm trying to make that a lot of people don't understand. The point I'm trying to make. No, I'm not wrong. It's a federal crime transporting Schedule 1 substance across international borders. Oh, international borders. Oh, interesting. So you understand that regular travel between borders is not a federal crime at all, especially if it's legal in both of the states. And now you had to like add a totally separate charge to the incident saying that she was drug trafficking to Russia or something. You're a fucking idiot. Shut the fuck up. Okay, it's literally weed. Shut your stupid mouth up. Jesus Christ. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What is this argument? Like, what are you justifying the Brittany Griner thing? Are you absolutely delusional? It's very clear why the Russian government did that. And the irony here is what we're doing right now is even worse than what the Russian government did. Russians do not get a slap on the wrist for that, but not even Russian government is pretending that it wasn't for Victor. No, it's totally up to the individual. From what I understand, that level of like weed, that level of marijuana is not as heinous of a crime as the way that the Russian government presented it. Okay, it's ridiculous. Your points are stupid and Russophobic. Man, shut the fuck up, dude. God, my points are stupid and Russophobic. Suck my fucking dick. I hate this fucking dumbass argument. They very clearly fucking kidnapped Brittany Griner so that they could use her as hostage. What are you talking about? Russophobic. Get the fuck out of here. Listen, dumbass. When Russia actually pops an American spy that seems to be a passport aficionado, do I say that this is inappropriate? No, I don't. Okay? Stop sucking Vladimir Putin's cock, you dumb bitch. Jesus Christ. Fair is fair. If an American passport aficionado gets fucking caught with like terabytes of national security that they were trying to purchase with like $50,000 in cash, and the Russian government apprehends them, I'm not going to sit there and be like, whoa, this guy has 8 passports for no reason. That's fair is fair. That's an American spy, and Russia caught him, okay? That's a totally separate incident. But if you're going to use trumped up charges to justify kidnapping like high-profile Americans in exchange for high-profile Russian prisoners in the United States of America, you're a fucking delusional moron. Jesus Christ. I can't believe that people try to argue on the dumbest issues, okay? Holy shit. Not that it even matters, because the point I was actually trying to make is that what America is doing is even worse than what Russia is doing, because at least Russia had the quote-unquote decency, I guess, in their kidnapping, right? Totally unjustifiable. Their kidnapping of Brittany Griner to slap her with some bullshit fucking charges. We're not even doing that. Do you understand how disgusting this is? The argument here isn't even like some of these chatters want to make the argument that Russia is good. Okay? What they did in that circumstance was not good. It was ridiculous. But even then, it was at least still marginally better than what we're doing here, because there is not even a real charge that we've issued on anybody, okay? It's unbelievable. At least Russia had the dignity to create a legal circumstance to justify kidnapping this American national that had nothing to do with anything other than just being on Russian soil and play basketball on Russian soil. We're not even doing that. And you got dumb fuck Americans in here still being like, oh, I don't even want to understand that this is like a violation of all of our rights and genuinely devastating for what the future holds. I'm just going to simply sit here and yell about Russia being good for some fucking weird reason. What? He tried to make an argument. What is this? Modern Baliasan? Sure, but is Russia a sovereign state with its own laws or not? He tried to make an argument on the basis of law. It was a bad argument, so we fell back to the moral argumentation. What? Modern Baliasan? If they choose to double down on the war, chances of martial law seem pretty high. Yes, Russia is a sovereign state with its own laws. That's why I was bringing up the fact that Russia actually has lenience for Russian nationals that are carrying that amount of weed when they're traveling inside of Russia. Okay? I'm using Russia as a sovereign state and their own rules and their own conduct to imply, to show you, okay, to show you that they weren't even abiding by their own personal standards very clearly because they had a separate goal in mind. Some of you don't want to comprehend the argument that's presented here, okay? But she wasn't Russian, was she? It doesn't matter, dude. What standard could you fucking apply to like a totally ridiculous situation where they're clearly using trumped up charges to justify apprehending someone for an extended period of time so they can use them as a fucking bargaining chip that they also openly admitted was a bargaining chip. God damn, some of you dumb fucks are so unbelievably dense. It's so funny that this is one of those things that just like cop brain chatters. No, it's not. It's like it's like ultras and campus that just have this attitude where it's like Russia can never do anything wrong. Ironic because like everyone is calling me a fucking Vladimir Putin dick rider. Every goddamn stupid centrist Democrat is like Hasan is Vladimir Putin lover. Why are chatters acting like this is an assigned debate class where they lose on the ground that they're arguing? They have to find new ones to fall back to instead of just admitting that they were wrong. They do that because they are desperate for attention from daddy. Okay, that's what it is, and I give it to them. So that's what is going on. And it wasn't like the Russia Brittany Griner situation wasn't even the main point of contention here. The Russia Brittany Griner situation was a way to show that what the American government is doing is even worse than what we say our foreign adversaries are doing. 15 hate threads from Ben Norton incoming. No, he won't do that. Like, look, I'm a principled anti-NATO guy, okay? At the end of the day, I'm anti-NATO. All right? I am. But like the idea that like Russia is not a sovereign state that is capable of doing harm to both its citizens and also doing harm in terms of irredentist action that I might disagree with regardless of my anti-NATO stance is also stupid. I'm not unconditionally anti-Russia or like one of those guys is like Adolf Putler or whatever the fuck, right? But it's ridiculous. Anyway, why would ultras support a Russian kleptocracy? Because they see what Russia is doing. They see what Russia is doing as a justifiable act against Western Empire. And I understand why they make this calculation. I understand where they're coming from to a certain degree, but it's still an incredibly bloody affair where a lot of innocents are being slaughtered in the process for no fucking reason. But these are guys who want like multipolarity. They want unconditional anti-imperialism. So anyone that's fighting against American empire, they're on board with. I'm just not going to get caught in the crosshairs, like, and kind of be like the dark period, the dark chapter of the IRA's history, where they align with Nazi Germany because Nazi Germany is against the British Empire, right? Like there are instances where you can make the calculation that the enemy of my enemy is maybe not my friend, right?